Welcome everyone. We'll be continuing our reading from Science of Self-Realization, and we are starting chapter 7 of Science of Self-Realization today. Um, okay, so this 7 is returning to eternal religion. Srila Prabhupada arrives in America on 1865, on September 18th, 1965, as Indian steamship Jaladuta nears Boston Commonwealth Pier. Srila Prabhupada prays to Lord Krishna in a moving poem. I am simply praying for your mercy so that I'll be able to convince them about your message. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like. Anyone can read? One line each of us.
Yeah. From one, this my dear Lord Krishna.
No, no. Second.
Acha, okay. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place?
Next. Anyone?
Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva. I do not know why they will be able to understand it. How they will be able to understand it.
Next. Next.
But I know, but I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic.
Next. Who didn't read?
How will they understand the
Hmm.
mellows of devotional service? Oh Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message.
Anyone left? 6. All living entities have come under the control of illusory energy by your will, and therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. 7. Someone read?
I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they will be able to understand your message.
8.
The words of the Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation, and if a uh, sober person repeatedly receives them with submissive oral reception, then he will be able to understand your message.
9.
It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 to 21, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma Super Soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an
Irrevocable.
irrevocable,
Yeah.
irrevocable fact. As soon as the irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and anchoring, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Thus, established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus, the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to the pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master.
10. Who is not read, just read. He will become liberated from the influence of mode of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the heart, core of the heart, will disappear. 11.
How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore, I am seeking your benediction so that I can convince them. For I am powerless to do so on my own.
12.
Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like.
13.
O spiritual master of all the words, I can simply repeat your message. So, if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding.
14.
Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel england, engladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life.
15.
O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hand. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance. O Lord, make me dance as you like.
16.
I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhakti Vedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhakti Vedanta.
Signed the most
Signed. Okay.
Signed the most unfortunate and insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th of September 1965. So this is a poem that Prabhupada wrote on the day that he came to America, 18th of September 1965. And yesterday we had a very big discussion on is Krishna consciousness the only solution? And I should have read this poem because here Prabhupada writes all our points that we discussed, and he tells. So we'll just go through what Prabhupada is saying here. It's a very moving poem. First of all, he says, "Why have you brought me here?" Indeed, Prabhupada bought the tickets and he sat on the Jaladuta and he traveled for 2 months. It would take 2 months to reach through a ship. Today it may take maybe 15 days, 20 days, but it may take, at that point, it was taking 2 months. And in the poem, he's saying, "Why have you brought me here?" Well, Prabhupada himself planned and he gone, and then he's saying, "Why have you brought me?" Why? Because Prabhupada is humble and he's saying, this place is a very terrible place. It's not Vrindavan, it's not India. What is terrible here? So he's talking about America, which today also is like the same, similar. What is terrible? The people are covered in modes of ignorance and passion. You all read chapter 14, right? Of Bhagavad Gita. So, what are the results of ignorance and passion? Do you remember? Mode of passion. What is the result? If somebody is in mode of passion, what is the result? And somebody is a mode of goodness, ignorance, what is the result? Was this discussed or no?
Yes, Prabhu, we discussed.
So mode of passion result is
Restlessness,
misery.
misery, yeah.
Mode of ignorance is
Pain or
madness.
madness, yeah.
Madness, indolence, sleep.
Indolence, yeah.
And if you want to understand, these three modes, you have to just keep in this in mind. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. In Ramayana, there were three brothers. Name them.
Three brothers.
Yeah. I'm not talking about five brothers. I'm not talking about four brothers. I'm talking about three brothers. They lived in Sri Lanka. Actually, they lived in
Ravana,
Ravan, Sugriv,
Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana.
yeah,
and
Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishan.
Vibhishan.
Now, who is the example of mode of goodness? Who? Ravana, Vibhishan, or Kumbhakarna? Who?
Vibhishana.
Vibhishan.
Vibhishan. Okay. Who is the example of mode of passion?
Ravana.
Yeah.
No, Ravana is, oh, okay.
Who is the I'll explain. Who is then remaining is Kumbhakarna. So Vibhishan means all good result, right? Let's put it simple, good result. What was this? Misery. And this was madness, sleep, indolence. This was misery, anxiety, full of desires, endless desires. Right? I don't have to speak much. So if you want to remember, what is mode of goodness, what is mode of passion, ignorance, just remember these three names: Ravana, Vibhishan, Kumbhakarna. And you can understand. Kumbhakarna was kind of mad only. He would, first of all, he would sleep. And madness in what? Madness, he knew that Ravana was wrong. And he told Ravana also. But still he went and he fought for him. So that is kind of madness. When you know what is right, but still you don't. Another kind of madness is when he was killing even the Rakshasas also. So you are killing your own people. And he would eat anybody in the way. It's kind of madness. And Ravana, we know, full of endless desires, right? He had the most beautiful wife, Mandodari. Very, very beautiful. But he was not satisfied with her. So he would go and kidnap many other princess, women, and out of force, he would keep them as their servants and enjoy them. And he tried to do with Sita. Hmm? Even though he had so many women at his palace. What? Hanuman, he saw so many women. When Ravana was sleeping, so many women around him were also sleeping. And then he said, no, no, Sita won't be one of them because she's a chaste woman. And then he started looking here and there, and then he found her in the Ashoka one, Vatika. Full of desires, anxiety. So much anxiety he created for himself because of capturing Sita. That Vibhishan said, this Sita is like a noose around your neck. And the more you try to keep it with you, that noose tightens. And what happens when the noose tightens around your neck? It will kill you only. So he lost everyone. He lost first Kumbhakarna's sons. He lost his leaders in the army. Then he lost his own sons. And his favorite son, what was his name? Um, what was the son favorite's name? Forgot. Ravana's favorite son, his name was? Anyone remembers?
Meghanath.
Meghnad, yeah, Meghnad. He lost him. So much misery he brought on himself. Right? Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita first chapter, he was thinking so many people will die. And look at what Ravana is thinking. So many people, let them die for my cause. and I'm okay to take that misery. So he only got misery. His army was destroyed, everything was destroyed. Such a misery. Place of Lanka was burnt, and this fellow is not even understanding what is happening. He's just putting, like Adolf Hitler. I will die and I will kill everyone in my. I will take everybody with me. Now
But Prabhu,
Vibhishan,
I did Rama got moksha, right?
who
That's what I
Ravana.
heard. Ah, he got moksha.
Okay, we'll come to that point. We are
Okay.
discussing right now modes. I will talk about that. Vibhishan, why in mode of goodness? Because it was truthful. He was truthful. He understood Ravana is wrong, and then he joined Ram when he got insulted by Ravana. And Ravana himself said, "You get away. If you stand here, I will kill you only." So Vibhishan said, "Fine, I'm going." And he joined Ram's army, and then he became the next king after Ravana was dead. So Ravana, he was such a cruel person, but he got moksha, right? That is the question, right? Isn't it? What's the question? You were asking something, no, Mataji? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, we are able to hear.
Okay. So I think that Mataji dropped out or something. Okay. So why did Ravana got moksha even though he was so cruel? He didn't practice any spiritual life, nothing he practiced, and still he got moksha. Moksha means liberation. But what kind of liberation he got? He merged into the Brahma Jyoti. He didn't go back home, back to Godhead. He merged into the Brahma Jyoti. He and Kumbhakaran, both of them. Why? They didn't do any spiritual practice. They only were creating misery and madness. What was the reason why they got? Anyone? Because of this Lord Ram. Lord Ram, he is merciful. Even in his killing, they were destined for hell, but because they got killed by Lord Ram, they went to liberation, Brahmajyoti. They merged into Brahmajyoti. So technically, they don't wanted to go back home, back to Godhead. Ravana, Kumbhakarna, they don't want to go to back home, back to Godhead. That is there. But because they fought with Lord Ram, in that fighting they did some service with Lord Ram of fighting, and Lord Ram is merciful. So he forgave them, he killed them, and sent them and merged them into Brahmajyoti. Okay, that's why we got. So Krishna is merciful even in his killing and in his saving both. Now it depends on the person who is killed whether he wants to go back home, back to Godhead or not. Ravana and Kumbhakarna didn't want to go. Only when they came back as in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela as Jagai and Madai, that is the only time they wanted to go back home, back to Godhead, and then is when they went back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, they didn't go. In Krishna's pastime also, Shishupal and Dantavakra, they were Ravana and Kumbhakarna previously, but again they got killed by Krishna and they merged again Brahmajyoti. But only in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became Jagai Madai and they tried to they hit actually Nityananda Prabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got angry on them. But this time he was about to kill them. He said Chakra Chakra. But Nityananda Prabhu said no. In this incarnation you are not going to kill. You're only going to kill the sinful mentality. And that's when he accepted Jagai Madai as Jagadananda and Madhvananda. Um, and they became good devotees. They became pure devotees, and they went back home, back to God. So I hope that answers your question why he got moksha.
Prabhu,
Yes?
right,
Yeah.
this Ravana Kumbhakarna are nothing but
Jai Vijay.
Jai Vijay, right? So
Yes.
in three I mean, what you call three yugas only
Yeah. They
they
came three
taken, right?
yugas, but
Hmm.
they actually belong to the spiritual world, na? In all
Right.
the three
Yeah.
yugas, they didn't desire to go back home, back to Godhead. They all the three times they just merged into the Brahman. So they again came back in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime 500 years ago at Jagai and Madai. And when they
Okay.
got Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, they went back home, back to Godhead. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. We need to understand this because as Shishupal and Dantavakra, they didn't say, sorry, sorry, Krishna, give me devotion service. No. They fought till the last breath. Krishna had to cut Shishupal's head. Can you imagine? Somebody's head you are trying to cut because that person is not even listening. Dantavakra also, he also got that kind of beating. But at Jagai and Madai, they begged at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They said, we are very sorry, forgive. Nityan Prabhu forgave. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgave. And they started dancing, chanting Hare Krishna. And suddenly, Lord Chaitanya became black as Krishna. And after some time, that black went away, and again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became golden form. So it is said that he became black because of the karma of Jagai and Madai. He accepted that karma on his body, and then those who offend the Vaishnavas, they would get these karmas. So that's when the karmas went to someone who offended Vaishnavas. So we should not offend the Vaishnavas. It's a very dangerous karma. Okay. Um, so does this help? We talked about three modes and all that. Hmm? Again, coming back. Hmm. So yeah, there's ignorance and passion, meaning there is madness and misery. But we always hear America is a very good place, amazing place. But look at how saintly people look at it. Oh, this is misery and madness. Why? Because they have no taste for spiritual life. And they are falsely thinking we are very happy and satisfied. So now, it challenges us. In India, people want to go to America, right? I also stayed in America for 13 years. And, the saintly people, they see, oh, this is just misery and madness. So from what angle they are looking at misery and madness when, modern TV is always showing America to be a very great place? What angle are they looking? What is the misery and madness in America or in outside world? Or in this matter, we are all in Bangalore. There are places of modes of ignorance and passion. How come they are places of modes of ignorance and passion, and I mean misery and madness? Tell me a place in Bangalore which is actually mode of ignorance and passion, and we can then take our discussion from there. Places of ignorance and passion. Tell me. Give me some example in Bangalore. You don't have to say the name, but you have to just say me a general word.
Bars, Prabhu.
Bars. Those who don't understand
Pubs.
bars, it's where
Pubs. Pubs.
alcohol.
Alcohol.
Okay, pubs. And what?
Pubs.
Pubs is where disco dance happens. Anything more? Bars, pubs.
For passion, it is government offices,
No, no, no. Government offices, I wouldn't say
like
passionate, but
political party
political
offices.
party, yes, yes, all that thing happening. But anything else which everyone can understand. Um, let's put it like this, non-veg restaurants. Simple. Let's keep it simple for the time being. Now, how come these places are places of misery and madness? Give your explanation. What is the reasoning? Why will you say these places are misery of madness, and what is the reasoning behind it? What is the reasoning of misery in a bar, in an alcohol bar? What is the reasoning of pubs, where disco dance is going on, non-vegetarian food is there? What is the misery there? Eh, we we see, some of our friends who go these places and they are misery. Do they come miserable? What is the real misery out there? Tell me. What kind of misery is there? We think it's all nice dancing, and lights are there, and nice alcohol is there. Hmm? Where is the misery?
Because of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Masaram. So because of those,
What happens with them?
so if somebody wants something, so if they don't get, then it will be a happiness for them.
Okay. What is the result? Huh? What? I didn't hear. Come on, tell me. What is the madness in these places? Is there some madness, or is just that we are just selling it is madness, so it is madness? We need to identify. We need to explain how it is madness, how it is misery. Then only we can appreciate. Otherwise, we cannot appreciate.
They know it is bad, but still they want
How it is
to
bad?
drink.
How it is bad?
Bad for health.
Okay, some health issues are there.
Health issues are there, and
What kind of health issues are there?
Against to Vedas.
Against Vedas, come to some practical explanations.
so health issues can be like heart diseases and cancers like that.
Liver cirrhosis.
Liver.
What is liver cirrhosis? Anyone knows? Liver, 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 liver is basically dead because of too much of alcohol consumptions. So that is a misery. Any other misery? You get health issues. Okay, fine. What other health issue? What other issues we get from this bars and pubs and non-vegetarian restaurants? Health is one. Second, you said against Vedas. Oh, what do you exactly mean against Vedas? In Vedas there is meat eating also. How come you're not saying? How come you're saying? Oh, this is.
Intoxication.
Yeah, we talked about intoxications. We talked about it. Intoxication and what happens when one intoxicates? Health issue happens definitely, liver cirrhosis and all that. But like it happens, oh, too much of alcohol over many months and years. Let's say somebody went only for one day, and then you're saying, oh, this is place of ignorance and passion.
Depression, mental imbalance.
Okay, what is that imbalance that happens? What is that imbalance that happens? You always read in newspaper, no? Some imbalance happened. This intoxicated person did this thing and that thing. What all things happens?
People go in illusion, Prabhu. They think
Okay,
that by drinking and smoking, they can, they get that
okay. What
additional dose
happens when
to
they go
solve it.
into illusion?
They get into the mode of, like, for example,
Haha.
generally people drink or smoke to bring up their lost confidence or whatever. They think that, okay, this will solve my problem.
That's fine. They think that they solve the problem. Later on, after a day, they come hangover happens and they
Yeah,
come out of it
they
fine.
realize, yeah.
Huh, okay. The illusion part is there, but there is something severe happening. Na? So what is that severe thing happens? Intoxication. We always hear this, na? People drink and what they do at home?
Losing the control, bro.
What control?
Misbehave, beat people or whatever.
Yeah, misbehave, beat. In other words, they get angry. Hmm? They abuse, wife and children. Don't we hear this? Intoxication leads ultimately to abuse of wife and children, right? Don't you hear this? It's all there in the news. Any newspaper you open, on the very first, second, third, fourth, fifth, you reach and you'll always see this. This guy came intoxicated, hit wife, children, broke somebody's door. Now someone may say, okay, I understand this, but I don't do. I take little bit, one sip of, you know, alcohol. I don't take one full bottle of alcohol. Now what is the reasoning? What is the reasoning of misery and madness? We will say, health issues are there. So he'll say, I drink only little. Intoxication, you will beat your wife and children. Oh, I take only little. Then I control myself. So, well, what kind of miseries come? What kind of madness comes? Health misery, madness misery. Okay, simple. Karma. You accumulate karma. What karma? Bad karma. If you accumulate something bad karma over a period of time, bad things are going to happen in your life. So even these small sippers of alcohol, which is not good for our body, little bit may be good, but over a period of time it's going to destroy our body, it's going to destroy our mind. Lose our mind over a period of time and intelligence. Hmm? Taking shelter of intoxications and all that. Um, we'll be away. It will take us away from pious life. What to speak of Krishna consciousness? Pious life only it will take us away. There will be so much bad karma, right? Non-vegetarian food, alcohol. So much karma is coming. When an animal is killed, it kills in pain, right? So that pain comes in the body of that animal, and that body they burn and fry and then they eat. So you are going to eat the pain. Krishna prasadam is not pain, it is joyful prasadam. So much bad karma comes, right? So all these things happen. So this is misery, health issues, losing mind, illusion. All this is misery. Madness is also madness only. Accumulating bad karma, abusing wife, children at the end. It will take us away from pious activities, pious life, good life. So, so yeah. So in America, this is pretty common. And I will tell you an example which will tell you how common and how invasive is this. My son was born in America, and we were at a place. So what happens is when couples they are expecting child, right? The the hospitals they train the couples what to expect, in pregnancy, what to expect after having a child. So we were in this group where other couples were also there, and then they were discussing, oh, I'm going to this hospital, we were going to that hospital, and the teacher said, oh, in this hospital when you're discharged you'll be able to drink wine and probably steak is actually cow meat. This is immediately after birth, 1 2 day after birth, and directly this is given in a hospital. And this is what exactly that instructor was telling that one couple. So they said, oh, that hospital is good. Why? Because they will what they will release, or what, discharge. Yeah, they'll discharge you and they will feed you with a drink of wine and steak. First of all, wine, if you give to a woman who has given birth, it will go into milk, right? Into her body, and then ultimately to the milk, and that milk will be fed to the child. That child is pure. A baby is pure, right? It doesn't even eat salt, and now you're going to feed that child wine and steak. That is non-vegetarian food. Even in the Christian religion, when Jesus was born, they told that don't give him alcohol. There's a story, and it says that don't give him alcohol, don't give him this, don't give him that. But this is what is there. This is this was said at the time of what um, having a child. What to speak of enjoying pubs and bars and all that? It's pretty common there. I once visited Las Vegas. Las Vegas. Everyone does. Anyone has heard about Las Vegas? Yeah. So I went there and I saw, there are these huge buildings and all of them are simply doing what? Gambling. This is one thing we didn't discuss. Places of gambling also. Gambling happens at bars and all that. They gamble with cards. They gamble with some games and all that. And big gambling casinos are there. And what is happening? Gambling is what? It is um, it is not hard work. People are trying to earn money out of quick money, and it is actually not making the mind strong. It is losing the mind with some hope. I will get like a lottery system. Lottery system is also kind of gambling only. I will get, and people after one lottery after another after third after fourth, they just keep buying with the hope that I will get, but only the lottery house wins. So in Las Vegas, um, there's a saying, the house only wins. You always lose. And this is what was happening, so many people gambling and all that. And so much smoking was going on. I mean, it was unimaginable for me. Smoking, I was just standing on the road and I could feel the smoke of not the cars, but cigarettes. So much cigarette smoking was going on that even on the road when you're walking, you can smell the cigarettes. This is true thing. I was there, 13 years I stayed. So, so you can hear uh, first hand experience. Okay, so this is what Prabhupada is saying. These are places of ignorance and passion, and you have brought, and we have come here, and they have no taste for spiritual life, and they are thinking they are very happy and satisfied. This is another thing. They think they are very happy and satisfied, but they don't know that all this is coming. Health issues are coming. Mind is getting lost. You will ultimately abuse your family, abuse your body. You're accumulating bad karma. The one instance happened in gambling. I was watching. So I stayed in San Jose, California, and there was a gambler. His story came out very recently, maybe 7 8 years or 10 years old. That this gambler, he lost a lot of money, and then he had to pay back. You have to pay back all the money. It's not like everything's for free. You have to pay back. So he was thinking, how can I pay back? How can I pay back? And then he devised a plan. He It's very sad story. He killed his own father and mother to get their insurance money. This is a true story. He lived in Los Angeles. He drove by a car to Sacramento, which is north of San Jose. Some 8 hours of driving he did. He killed his father, mother, and he just escaped. It was only a few seconds of video recording of the CCTV that caught him. And that gambling drove him to such an extent that he killed his own father and mother. Now these stories are becoming common everywhere, India also, unfortunately. But yeah, this is what happens. You lose your mind, you abuse, and you go into bad karma, and such a bad karma that it's unimaginable. Crime, criminal activity. So yeah, that's where Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is looking at from that perspective how it is misery and how it is madness. And then he says, how can they understand the transcendent message of Krishna? I don't know if I will be able to understand it. But Krishna, you have the causeless mercy. Everything is possible by you. And this is what we were discussing yesterday. In our discussion that we did half an hour, only Krishna consciousness can transform heart. And we discussed all this, how Prabhupada changed these all people, hippies, educated youth, common people, leaders. They appreciated, they changed into happy devotees. They took to some of the philosophy, and some became devotees, full-time devotees. Why? Because Krishna's holy name was there, na? And Prabhupada did say that at the end. How will they understand mellows of devotional service? How will they understand that we have to serve Lord Ram like Hanuman did? Hmm? They are so much into ignorance and passion. How will they understand? If you go on book distribution and if you see some drunken person, you'll think, na, how will he understand this Bhagavad Gita? If I hand him Bhagavad Gita, he will throw it away. In one of the countries, na, they were doing book distribution in the month of December. So one of the devotees distributed a book to somebody, some local person. Maybe he may be intoxicated. So he bought the book, but then he threw it in the dustbin, garbage. And there was another person who came after that to that place, and he was very poor, very poor. He didn't have anything to eat. So in the garbage he would find food. So he dug his hand in the garbage and he pulled out, and out came Bhagavad Gita in his hand. He wanted food, but Bhagavad Gita came out, and he started reading. And then there was address of our center, ISKCON center. So he came walking there, and after a few days he became devotee. He joined there. So Prabhupada is asking, how can they understand mellows of Bhagavad Gita? How will I able be to convince them? They are under the control of illusory energy. Illusory means what? That which is not, meaning something false, based on illusion, not real. So they are also thinking, I am not real. I'm like in sorry, they are thinking something which is not real. They are under that illusory energy. And how can they understand this? Oh Krishna, you only can deliver them. This is what Prabhupada is saying. And then he said, the words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation. So Krishna left this material world. When he left, he again appeared as what? Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is his incarnation. And Prabhupada is saying, I will repeat that message from Srimad Bhagavatam, and then they will understand. How come Srimad Bhagavatam words are going to affect? What does Srimad Bhagavatam does? And then in Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 17, Prabhupada is saying what it does. It cleanses the desire for material enjoyment. This is yesterday we discussed. Jails are what? Correctional institutes. Jail is, another word for it is correctional institute. But do criminals become corrected? Do criminals correct themselves? What is your answer? After going to jail, when they come out, have they corrected themselves? What is your experience? What have you heard about it? Any answer? Anyone? Do they completely become reformed? Tell me.
They will realize, and they will do some good things, like good things in the sense
Do
like
all
they
of
make
them do
some
the same thing? Do all of them get reformed? My
not
question is,
really, but no,
do
no,
all get reformed?
may not be, but most of them.
Most of them. Okay, fine. Some do get reformed, and then they, after experience they will not. But then there are A few who don't get resolved, who don't get reformed, what will they do? They'll again commit crime, right? According to statistics, most of them don't get reformed. They again commit crime somewhere or the other, and they again come back to jail. This is what Parikshit Maharaj said. It's like taking elephant bath. Yesterday we talked about elephant bath. What is the problem with elephant bath? Does anyone know? Anyone saw elephant bath?
It will take again mud after taking bath with
So it
water.
will take first nice water bath, and then later it will take mud bath. Now we have to take bath to remove the mud, right, from our body. But this elephant does ulta, takes water bath and then puts mud on it. So correctional institute we went to become reformed. But again, if you commit crime. So in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, Sukdev Goswami explains that hellish planets, they are like jails where reform takes place. But even after coming, people commit sinful activity after coming out of hell also. Just like crime. So where is the problem? Or let me ask you this way, that there is a problem that even after so-called reformation, they actually not reformed. They still commit sinful activity, they still commit crime. They actually not reformed. So what is the solution? Where is the solution? Where can the soul be completely reformed? This was Parikshit Maharaj's question. And the answer for that is, what is the answer? What does Sukdev Goswami says? Come on, tell me what is the answer. You know the answer.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, fine, Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the exact answer? Which yoga?
Bhakti
Bhakti
Yoga?
Yoga.
Bhakti Yoga. Yeah, he says Bhakti Yoga and starting with chanting. And what story he says? Which story he says to prove this point? Story of
Ambarish.
no,
Ajamil.
Ajamil. Yes, Ajamil. You have heard the story of Ajamil, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
His
Okay.
son name was Narayan, right?
Yes. And he was addicted to prostitute,
Yeah.
drinking, prostitution, and all that. So, what happens when you hear the holy name or when you hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam? Your heart is cleansed of the material enjoyment. Basically, your heart is transformed. What happens? We discussed this point. Heart is transformed, right? Krishna consciousness, what it does? It transforms the heart. Once you transform, the desire itself is removed, or the desire itself is transformed from selfishness to selflessness. This is the power of Krishna consciousness. And what happens? The devotee has developed, when he develops a desire to hear his message, then this cleansing process happens. His message means two things, okay? Srimad Bhagavatam and also his holy name. When these two things are happening and he's hearing and he's like interested in hearing, then this cleansing process is taking place behind the scene. Okay, it's just like a washing machine. You put clothes in it, start after 3 hours. If the clothes are inside the washing machine, they will become clean, right? Similarly, a devotee who continues to hear the message of Krishna and chants his holy name for a longer period of time, his his cleansing is taking place by regular attendance of classes in Bhagavatam, by hearing, and then Serving devotee. This was one point I didn't discuss yesterday. We need to serve a pure devotee. Whatever is troublesome to heart. What is troublesome to heart? This madness and misery, it is very troublesome to heart. That is destroyed. And loving service unto the Supreme Personal Godhead is established as an irrevocable fact. The modes of passion and ignorance, lust, desire, hankering disappears from the heart. And then what happens? Established in goodness. He becomes like Vibhishan. And then he becomes completely happy. He's not like Ravana, full of anxiety. So in this mode of unalloyed goodness, then he is enlivened and he perfects his life. The knot in the heart. Knot means knot is basically the knot is ties in the heart. They are cut into pieces. Um, they basically are destroyed. And once the influence of mode of ignorance and passion goes away, this is what Krishna consciousness is doing. It is doing even better reform, the highest reform, transforming the heart. Then influence will go away and um, he, he'll become liberated. Okay, he won't remain in this world, he will go back to Godhead. Jail, after jail, the person comes back to this material world. But after the process of Krishna consciousness, do we come back to this material world? No, we just go back to God. And then Prabhupada says, how can I explain all these things? So this is his humility. Then he says, Krishna, only you can give me that power. You can make me successful or failure as you like. I will only do one thing. I will repeat your message as it is. And I will try to my best to distribute this knowledge. I am a puppet in your hand. It's very interesting to see some picture of puppet, so that we let's see. Yeah, I'm just a puppet in your hand. Krishna, you take me to places. So what is exactly Prabhupada saying? Puppet in your hand. Puppet in your hand. Um, how can
Whatever, however you want me to do,
yeah,
move,
I will do.
I will do.
Like babies, they kind of puppet in our hands. But when they become toddler, do they remain puppets? No, right? They will they'll say, no, mommy, don't touch me. They'll try to do the own things on their own, right? But when they're babies, they'll do say exactly like that, um,
Prabhuji, otherwise also we are the puppets only, right? Whether we
ha.
are
Yeah,
aware
yeah,
of it or
we'll come back
not
to your
aware of it.
question. Yeah, we'll come back to your question you asked, right? You are Padma, right? Padma Mataji.
Minu, Minu.
Oh, you're Minu. Okay, some Priya Mataji, she asked a question, so it's similar to that. Hmm? Okay. Okay, and then Prabhupada ends saying that I have strong faith in the holy name, and that will do the magic. Okay, and that will do the magic. So even though this is a poem, but this is a very deep poem with all philosophical meanings and all. So is Priya Mataji there in the call?
No, Prabhu, I don't think
Okay,
so.
okay, okay, fine. So she had asked about this puppet thing. Okay, you go ahead with your question.
No, I'm just asking Prabhu that,
Hmm.
see, we otherwise also puppet in God's hand, right? Whether we are aware of it or not aware of it.
Okay, okay,
We can't,
okay,
like,
okay. We are
everything is
puppets.
designed,
Yeah,
right?
we
Yeah.
are puppets in Krishna's hand. But we are not good puppets. We are little funny puppets. We are puppets in the hands of Krishna. Um, of Krishna, of Krishna's energy. not in his hand, but actually we are puppets in Krishna's energies. Which energies? The modes, the three modes: passion, goodness, and ignorance. This is our real state. So when we are in um, unsurrendered state, that is when we are in non-devotee state, then we are puppets in the hands of Krishna's energy, the three modes. But when we surrender to Krishna and when we become pure devotee, then these three modes don't come in picture. We are actually puppets in the hands of Krishna. Give me example. Give me example of the second point, where a surrendered devotee is in the hands of Krishna. How come he is a puppet in the hand of Krishna? He tells and the devotee does. Who was the devotee? He's one of the five Pandavas.
Arjuna.
Arjuna. How come Arjuna was the puppet?
At the time of war, Kurukshetra, so
Ah.
whatever Krishna wanted, so Arjuna.
Okay, what happened in the very first hour of the war?
Arjuna was under three modes of material nature.
No, it was never under three modes of material nature.
Acha, okay.
He was a puppet of Krishna. So Krishna put him in illusion.
Okay.
And then after hearing Bhagavad Gita, what did Arjuna say after hearing Bhagavad Gita? In the 18th chapter. Smritir labdha. An interesting word he is using. Smritir labdha. What does that mean? Oh, my memory has come back. Basically, it means like that. My memory has come back. Now, who will say my memory has come back? After hearing Bhagavad Gita, if somebody is saying my memory has come back, Arjuna is saying my memory has come back, means what? Is he hearing Bhagavad Gita for the first time? He already knew Bhagavad Gita. This is what it means, right? See, my memory has come back. Smritir labdha. Oh, now I remember the formula. Now I remember the formula. Right? Don't your children say this? Smritir labdha, mummy. Now I remember the formula. I knew this. But I forgot in the exam. Don't you remember? Don't you experience this? Your child goes to exam and then he says, "Oh, mommy, I forgot. I forgot that formula." And then they start reading and they say, "Oh, this is. Oh, now I remember it." This is what it means by Smritir Labdha. So he already knew Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna gave him forgetfulness. And then told the whole Bhagavad Gita. After hearing, he's not saying, "Thank you, Krishna, for telling me this knowledge. I never heard this knowledge." Instead, Arjuna is saying, "Smritir Labdha. My memory has come back." So who put him into forgetfulness? Krishna put him to forgetfulness. Now, where in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, "I give you forgetfulness"? Where in Bhagavad Gita Krishna says, "I give you forgetfulness"? And probably you have not read that chapter. You are in 14th chapter, right? You all in 14th chapter, right? Aren't you all on 14th chapter? Or you are done with
Yes.
14th chapter? So actually he says that in 15th chapter. This is a very amazing verse. You must have heard it. This is where he says what he does. Sarvasya chaham hriday sannavishto matahar smitir jnanam apohanam cha vaidesha sarver aham vedyo vedanta krit veda videcha. Smritir. I give him forgetfulness and I give him knowledge and I give him remembrance. I am seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So, who made Arjuna to forget? Who is that person who made him to forget? Krishna.
Krishna made.
Yeah. So, Krishna made him forget. Then he spoke Bhagavad Gita. Then he made him remember. Arjuna remembered, right?
But
And what did
Prabhu,
Arjuna
how
say? Smritir labdha. That's why he's saying Smritir labdha. This is what a puppet means. He is not protesting. Krishna, you made me forget, and now you brought me, so many bad things. You made me drop my Gandiva. He's not telling all these things. Krishna is using Arjuna as an example to speak Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna already knew. So if Krishna had to tell him, so he told him, oh, you forget, you act like you forgot. Sometimes we
but
play this.
Prabhu, how sorry Prabhu, how Arjuna already knows Bhagavad Gita?
Oh, he has already heard this. He's a pure devotee, na? He already heard this.
But Krishna told first time, right, to Arjuna, like
Krishna
during the
told to
war.
Arjuna first time, but the knowledge was already there. Arjuna had already heard this knowledge from his guru or from the sadhus when he got trained. He already heard this knowledge. But in the first hour of the war, Krishna made him forget. And the way to make him forget was he brought him in front of his family members, his Bhishma and Dronacharya, and then put him into illusion. And then Arjuna started speaking like any common devotee or common person. What to do this war? I don't want to fight. If you read the story of Mahabharata, right? Before this war, he had already fought with all the Kauravas, Bhishma, Karna, Duryodhan, in where in the kingdom of Virat, in the kingdom of Virat, when the exile ends, right? Duryodhana comes with the army, and on that very day the exile ends, and they fight, and he defeats them all. Now, if he has already fought them there, what was the point of not fighting in the Mahabharata war? And in the Mahabharata war, you are preparing for that war. Before the war, they prepared for months. They bought so much of army and all that, and suddenly in the very first hour of the war, I don't want to fight this war. How can that happen when you are prepared so much? Because Krishna made Arjuna forget. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I give him remembrance and I give forgetfulness. So for a small time, he gave forgetfulness to Arjuna so that he can speak Bhagavad Gita. And then Arjuna very emphatically says, I remember now whatever you have said. You only remember if you have heard it. You cannot say, I remember if you have never heard it. No. You can only say when that I remember is when you have already heard it. Right? Isn't that the true statement? So if Arjuna is saying Smritir Labdha, he's not saying thank you, no, thank you Krishna for this great knowledge. I never knew about this knowledge. This is what we tell to devotees, right? I never heard this Bhagavad Gita. But look at what Arjuna is saying. Oh, Smritir Labdha. I already heard this, now I'm remembering it. So anyway, you think about this point. Smritir Labdha. Interesting way Arjuna says, after reading all the Smritir Labdha, he says, my memory has come back. So Krishna took his memory for some time and then gave back his memory. And he spoke Bhagavad Gita for whom? For us. Because we have never heard this. Okay. Okay. So, what are we trying to discuss here? Puppets. Yeah, we are trying to discuss puppets. So, puppet means that Arjuna, being such a pure devotee, he didn't protest to Krishna. Hey, why did you make me forget? Why you are putting me in this situation? Huh? You see, I'm looking like a fool in this situation. I'm crying here. What will others say? He's crying, he's not fighting. They will laugh, right? But Arjuna is not doing that because he's puppet. A puppet means they don't protest, right? Does a puppet protest? The puppeteer swings the puppet left to right to left, makes him do anything, jumps, falls down. Does the puppet protest? No, right? This is what is a pure devotee. He acts like that puppet. But when we are not a pure devotee, we are under the three modes of material nature. What is happening here is goodness, passion, ignorance, they are acting on us. So when can we understand we are the puppet and we are not the puppet? When? When can we understand we are the puppet in Krishna's energies? Three modes. And when we can understand we are Krishna's energy, we are under in Krishna's own hands. When there is a protest. If there is a protest, we are under Maya. If when there is no protest and the devotee is tolerating everything, then we understand he is in the hands of Krishna. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shishtastakam. Let me just bring it to you, and this will be our last point today. So these are 8 prayers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You must have heard this. Have you heard this? Cheto Darpanam Acharam Bhava Mahadavagni Vapanam. Have you heard
Yes,
this?
Prabhu.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in this, the very last verse that he says is where he says, Ashlisya va padarata pinishtumam adarsanam marmahatam korotu va yata tatha va vidhatu lampato mat prananatha susevanaparaha. This is a prayer only a pure devotee can say. Okay. All practicing devotees and all neophytes, they will find it very difficult. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and I shall remain so. Even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken hearted by being not present before me, he's completely free to do anything and everything, just like I am a puppet in his hand. For he'll always remain my worshipable Lord unconditionally. Whatever he does with me, I don't care. He'll still remain my Lord. Now, this is a prayer which, we'll find very difficult. But Srila Prabhupada said this prayer, and that's why he's a pure devotee. You make me dance as you like. Whether, I'm successful or failure, I don't care. As you like, you do whatever you want to do with me. I am a puppet in your hand. Oh Krishna. Most unfortunate. Prabhupada is the most fortunate. But still he's saying, I'm unfortunate, I'm insignificant beggar. This is a humility. This is in prayer number 3. Trinadapi sunichena tororapi saishna amani na manadena kirtaniya sada hari. One who chants the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself to be the straw in the street, and one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all senses of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. We are trying to chant the holy name, right? Now, if you want to chant the holy name sincerely and constantly, then this is the requirement. We have to be humble. We have to be like tolerant like a tree. So Prabhupada is becoming like that. That's why Prabhupada is a pure devotee. So that's why, he's able to say such prayers and become a puppet in the hands of Krishna. Okay? And he's not protesting. Just like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Okay. So let's stop here. Any question, any comment? I'll take one question. Any question, comment? No question? Okay. No question, right? Okay. Okay.